Once upon a time, and a very good time it was, though it wasn't in my time, nor in your time, nor anyone else's time. There was a girl whose mother had died, and her father married again, and her stepmother hated her because she was more beautiful than herself, and she was very cruel to her. She used to make her do all the servants' work, and never let her have any peace. At last, one day the stepmother thought to get rid of her altogether, so she handed her a sieve, and said to her,
"Go, fill this sieve with water from the well of the world's end, and bring it home full, or woe betide you."
For she thought she would never be able to find the well of the world's end, and if she did, how could she bring home a sieve full of water? So she did what the old woman told her, and at last arrived at the well of the world's end. But when she dipped the sieve in the cold, cold water, it all ran out again. She tried and tried, but every time it was the same, and at last she sat down and cried as if her heart would break. Suddenly, she heard a croaking voice, and she looked up and saw a great frog with goggle eyes looking at her and speaking to her.
"What's the matter, dearie?"
It said.
Oh dear,
She said.
my stepmother has sent me all this long way to fill this sieve with water from the well of the world's end, and I cannot fill it no how at all.
"Well,"
Said the frog,
"if you promise to do whatever I bid you for a whole night long, I will tell you how to fill it."
So the girl agreed, and the frog said,
"Stop it with moss and daub it with clay, and then it will carry the water away."
and then it gave a hop, skip, and jump, and went flop into the well of the world's end. girl looked about for some moss and lined the bottom of the sieve with it. And over that she put some clay, and then she dipped it once again into the well of the world's end. And this time the water did not run out. So she went back to her stepmother and brought the sieve full of water from the well of the world's end. The stepmother was angry as angry, but she said nothing at all. That very evening they heard something tapping at the door low down, and a voice cried out,
"Open the door, my hinny, my heart. Open the door, my own darling. Mind you the words. Oh, I forgot my puppet. Mind you the words that you and I spoke down in the meadow by the world's end well." "Whatever can that be?"
cried out the stepmother, and the girl had to tell her about it and what she had promised the frog.
Girls must keep their promises,
said the stepmother.
"Go open the door this instant."
For she was rather pleased that the girl would have to obey a nasty frog. So the girl went and opened the door, and there was the frog from the well of the world's end. And it hopped, and it hopped, and it jumped, till it reached the girl, and then it said,
"Lift me up to your knee, my hinny, my heart. Lift me up to your knee, my own darling. Remember the words you and I spoke down in the meadow by the world's end well."
But the girl didn't like to, till her stepmother said,
"Lift it up this instant, you hussy! Girls must keep their promises."
So at last she lifted the frog up onto her lap, and it lay there for a time, till at last it said,
"Give me some supper, my hinny, my heart. Give me some supper, my darling. Remember the promises you and I spoke down in the meadow by the well of the world's end."
Well, she didn't mind doing that, so she got it a bowl of milk and bread and fed it well. And when the frog had finished the repast, it said,
Go with me to bed, my hinny, my heart. Go with me to bed, my own darling. Mind you the words you spoke to me down by the cold well, so weary."
But that the girl would not do, till her stepmother said,
"Do what you promised, girl. Girls must keep their promises. Do what you're bid, or out you go, you and your froggy."
So the girl took the frog with her to bed and kept it as far away from her as she possibly could. Well, just as the day was beginning to break, what should the frog say but,
"Chop off my head, my heart! Chop off my head, my old darling! Remember the promise you made me down by the cold well, so weary."
first, the girl wouldn't do such a thing, for she had thought of what the frog had done for her at the well of the world's end. But when the frog said the words over again, she went and took an axe and chopped off its head. And here, audience, I ask you, close your eyes, avert your glance. Close your eyes. You must close your eyes. She went and took an axe and chopped off its head. And lo and behold, there stood before her a handsome prince who told her that he had been enchanted by a wicked magician, and he could never be unspelled till some girl would do his bidding for a whole night and chop off his head at the end of it. The stepmother was surprised indeed when she found the young prince instead of the nasty frog. And she wasn't best pleased, you may be sure, when the prince told her that he was going to marry her stepdaughter because she had unspelled him. But married they were, and went away to live in the castle of the king, his father. And all the stepmother had to console her was that it was all through her that her stepdaughter was married to a prince.